It's almost the end of the road for Football Manager 2024, with FM25 coming out not too long from now. And by now, most of us are well aware of the best Wonderkids that are available in FM24. But if you're still looking for some cracking youth players that are available for 10 million or less, here's a list of 25 players that have the potential to be stars. Now, every player on this list has a potential ability of 150 or more, but I'll include a table close to the end of the video with their current abilities, potential abilities, and some hidden attributes for those of you who want to see it. Now, if there's anyone on this list that you haven't seen before, or there's a player that's absolutely killed it in one of your saves, please let us know in the comments. Please also drop a like and hit subscribe to help my channel grow. And now, let's get straight to it. So we'll kick things off with 21-year-old Italian centre-back Giorgio Cittadini, currently on loan at Genoa from Atalanta. He is an absolute aerial force, 193 centimeters tall, heading of 15 and a jumping reach of 15 to go with it, along with some fair pace, acceleration of 15 and 13 pace, natural fitness of 15, and he's got some fairly rounded mental attributes as well. All in all, he looks fairly solid and will make a pretty decent no-nonsense centre-back. With some improvements in marking and tackling, he could be an absolute gem. Now, the best part of all of this is you could usually get the signing done for about £500,000, which is an absolute steal. Now, sticking with the Italian centre-backs, the next one up is Lorenzo Pirola. He comes in at just 185 centimeters tall, which is usually a concern for me, but he does have some very decent attributes and he's left-footed. Aggressive in the tackle with aggression of 15, tackling of 15, and a work rate of 14. He is quite solid with some physicals that suit it as well. Strength of 15, stamina of 15, and natural fitness of 16 with a determination of 15 as well. Now, like his compatriot from Italy, he's not going to make a great ball-playing centre-back, but he will definitely be a good stopper. Now, the best part here is his perfectionist personality, and he can be had for somewhere around £6.5 million. Now, another player that you could bring in for around £6.5 million is Josh Doig, a left back that is also plying his trade out in Italy. Now, Josh is perfectly suited to being the modern fullback, great in attack and great in defense, brilliant physical attributes with acceleration of 15, a jumping reach of 15, so a fairly tall left back. He could also offer you some cover at centre back if you train him that way, but all in all, he's going to be a brilliant signing with that resolute personality and determination of 15. Now, from one left back to another player that can play there as well, Jose Marsa. At just 21 years old with a release clause of 2.9 million, he is pretty much set to already be somewhat useful at the top tier. His attributes lend best to him being a CDM in a deep-lying playmaker role, but he could also function as a ball-playing centre-back. If you do happen to play a system with 3 centre-backs, he might also be quite valuable playing as a wide centre-back on that left side. Now, if we flip the switch and head over to a right back, Arnau Martinez is a solid one. At 20 years old, he comes in with very decent attributes and is ready-made for the top tier. Now, he's best suited to being a defensive fullback, but can offer a threat in attack as well. His physicals aren't the greatest, but his mental attributes will definitely hold him in great stead. Now, you can get him at the start of a save for 8.6 million, which is his release clause. He does often sign a contract on the 7th of July. That makes that release clause go all the way up to 61 million. So if you do want to get this one done, do it early. Next up, we have a goalkeeper with a bit of a South African past. One of his parents is from there, and he comes in at 183 centimeters tall, which isn't the greatest, but he can be available for just £100,000. Now, you're likely to get him for about 500k, and he's fairly decent for that price. Alex Paulson is definitely nothing of a world beater, but does have a fair bit of potential and will definitely serve you excellently at a level just below the top. If you aren't the biggest fan of goalkeepers that are just not the tallest, maybe skip this one over, but at the price, he could be an absolute steal. If you just can't get over the height issue, Elia Capriel is 191 centimeters tall and is definitely a whole lot better than Alex. The difference here is he's going to cost you a lot more at about £8 million, but he's definitely going to be worth a lot of that money. He could make an excellent shot stopper with handling of 15, reflexes of 16, and one-on-ones of 14. He's got a fair command of the area with 12 and an aerial reach of 12, which isn't the greatest, but remember, he is 191 centimeters tall. He's got excellent positioning of 14 and passing of 10 to go with his vision of 11 that will enable you to use him as something of a sweeper keeper. Next on the list is Marco Pellegrino, a centre back that is currently on loan from AC Milan at Salernitana. he can be had for 10 million on the dot. Now, Marco isn't the tallest, but has a very rounded set of attributes, which actually looks like it would make him a perfect central defensive midfielder. Now, you could go that route and try and convert him, but if you don't, you could still use him at centre back or even convert him to left back. He's got wonderful marking of 15, tackling of 14 and heading of 13 to go with his positioning of 14 and work rate of 12. He's got fair physical attributes and will be best served playing as a wide centre back if you do choose to use him at the back. And at 10 million, he could possibly be a very decent signing for a side that has a back 3 or back 5. He may not be able to get taller, but he does have a ton of potential and he's going to get a whole lot better if he's nurtured in the right way. Adamo Nagalo is another centre back on this list that would be best served playing in a back 3, but is very aggressive with some decent physicals, marking of 13, tackling of 13 and a work rate of 14. If he is converted into a CDM or a fullback, it could also work out pretty well. And if he does turn out to fulfill his potential, he could be perfect for most mid-table sides at the top tier. Now, amongst all the defensive signings that we've mentioned, the cost of 9 million makes him look relatively overpriced, but he definitely is worth it in the grand scheme of things. Now, talking about players that are definitely worth it, Aruna Sangante is an absolute monster. Available at just £9 million, he will make an amazing aggressive centre-back that also comes with marking of 15 and positioning of 15 as well. His physicals are fairly solid with acceleration of 13, a jumping reach of 13, pace of 13 and strength of 14. He's got tackling of 12, which isn't the greatest, and his passing is 11 without too much vision, so probably best not used as a ball-playing centre-back, but as an out-and-out defender, he'll do a wonderful job. Elias Yellert has all the attributes to make him a top-notch attacking fullback. Great physicals with acceleration, pace, stamina, and natural fitness, all of 15, and some very good technical attributes that will lend quite well to going forward. Crossing of 11, dribbling of 13, passing of 14, and some great mentals to go along with that, like his flair of 13, work rate of 15 and off the ball of 14. He isn't the best defensively, and this is definitely something that you could work on. Marking of 10, tackling of 12 and positioning of 10. But if he does get that right, he could lock down a wingback role for you perfectly. Now, there are a lot of centre backs on this list, and Beshir Omeragic is another one. Like some of the others, he's available for about £8 million, and the Swiss international with 4 caps is pretty decent at most things. He's got heading of 11, marking of 14 and tackling of 14. His positioning is quite decent at 14. His passing is 13 with vision of 12, so definitely in the realms of a ball-playing centre-back, but his determination definitely needs some work. So this is one that could definitely do with some mentoring, but otherwise, he looks fairly solid. He does already have the player trait to bring the ball out of defense, and that might be exactly how to use him. Use him as a ball-playing centre-back next to a more aggressive one like some of those that we've already mentioned. Now, the last out-and-out defender on this list is possibly one of my favourites, Martin Wittig, available at just £6 million, and he could be absolutely brilliant. At 194 centimeters tall, he is both quite quick with acceleration of 15 and pace of 14, and exceptional in the air with jumping reach of 15 and heading of 14. His strength sits at 16, with positioning and marking being the 2 areas that he possibly needs work in. Positioning of 11, marking of 12, but at just 20 years old and with a ton of potential, he can turn into an absolute monster. Now, the biggest flaw with Martin Wittig is his determination of 4, which is an absolute problem. But if you can get the mentoring system to get the most out of him, you are guaranteed to have an absolute beast in your backline. So the next player on the list is Ibrahima Bamba. Available for 10 million flat, he's going to offer you a very aggressive midfield option. If you do play a central defensive midfielder and can afford to have something of a water carrier, a player that's going to run around the park just to win the ball and be quite aggressive in it, Ibrahima Bamba is your man. Exceptional physicals with acceleration of 16, agility of 16, pace of 16 and natural fitness of 17 to go with his aggression of 16 and bravery of 17. He is spirited with determination of 17, concentration of 15 and a work rate of 15 as well. Now, he's no slouch in terms of his technicals, but they aren't the best. So definitely with some development, he could be the perfect foil for some more creative players played alongside. Now, talking about more creative players alongside, if you do play a double pivot, you could possibly play Osama Tarkhaline right next to him. You could get this deal done for 5.5 million. He's got passing of 15, a first touch of 15, and technique of 15 to go with his vision of 16. He is still quite physically robust, a height of 186, strength of 11, stamina of 14, and some decent pace and acceleration of 12. All in all, he's got some very rounded attributes, and at the very least could offer you a decent squad option at the very highest level. He's just 21 years old and will come with a lot of potential, which you can develop to make him a long-term fixture in your squad. Now, for a few more £1,000,000, you could bring in Giovanni Fabian. At just 20 years old, you can get this deal done for £9.5 to £10 million, and he is a fantastic prospect. Now, he's well suited to being a ball-winning midfielder, but will also function excellently as a box-to-box midfielder, with his only deficits being in technical areas involving set pieces. Of course, his long shots is currently 8, but his finishing is 13, and hopefully with the technique of 12, over time you can improve those. Now, he's physically robust at 190 centimeters tall, with strength of 15, stamina of 15, and some decent pace to go with it. He is a model citizen, so long term he could offer you the option to mold your squad personality, and if he does manage to fulfill his potential, his price is gonna look like an absolute steal. Now, talking about an absolute steal, Hassan Ouedraogo has the attributes to make him a creative force. At just 17 years old, he has a release clause of 8.6 million at the start of the save. Now, you have to act quickly because this usually goes up all the way to about 26 million on the 8th of July. Of course, Schalke start off in a bit of financial peril, but then offer him a new contract so that he doesn't go off and be the steal that he is. Now, he's got flair of 15, technique of 15, and passing of 13 to go with his vision of 12. He'll make a great attacking midfielder long term with a lot of potential, and he's got some decent physicals to back it and a resolute personality. At 191 centimeters tall, he is no pushover, but his strength is definitely something that can be worked on. Our dribbling of 14 and a first touch of 14, he's going to be running rings around other players and will definitely give you all the assists and goals you need in a fluid attacking formation. If for some reason Hassan is not your cup of tea, Franco Mastantuono, at just 15 years old and available for usually around £5 million, is an absolute bargain. He might not be ready for first team football at the top level just yet, but he definitely will be if he fulfills his potential. He's got finishing of 15 and a first touch of 15 already to go with his flair of 17 and balance of 15. Now, he loves cutting inside from the right wing, and he's got acceleration of 13 and pace of 10, so he might not make the best winger, but if you can bring those attributes up over the course of time, he is definitely going to be absolutely potent. Long term, he'll definitely need some mentoring to bring that determination of 8 up to scratch. But if you get that done, he is going to be an absolute beast. Now, whilst Franco definitely wasn't one of the quickest, Dilane Bakwa is rapid. Acceleration of 16 and pace of 15 at just 20 years old and available for something around £8 million. He is going to be a monster on the wing. If you fancy a formation with wing play, he's going to be excellent. Dribbling of 16 and crossing of 14 with a first touch of 16 and flair of 17. With off the ball movement of 15 and some decent mental attributes altogether, he could be an exceptional creative force from wide areas. Our next up is one of SL Benfica's brilliant young talents, João Rego. At 18 years old and available for about £5.5 million, he could become a fantastic wide or central attacking option. He might not be ready for first team football just yet, but he's already got the fundamentals in place. Acceleration of 13 to go with agility of 13 along with his pace of 12, dribbling of 13, a first touch of 13, and passing of 13 as well. He's got flair of 16, decision making of 12, some composure of 12, and vision of 14 to go with his determination of 16 and a personality that is resolute. If you play in a system that requires a high work rate, he does lack somewhat there. Teamwork of just 9 and work rate of 9, but it can improve over time, and he has got a ton of potential. Now, the other Portuguese giant, Porto, has Rodrigo Moura, a 16-year-old with all the potential in the world. You could pick him up for just £3.5 million, and he's got all the building blocks to become a fantastic central attacking midfielder. With agility of 12, dribbling of 13, first touch of 12, passing of 11, vision of 13, and a flair of 15, he could become the primary focus in any attacking system that deploys a cam. Now, like some of the others, he's going to need some work on his determination, and if you do pop him into the mentoring system, you could get that sorted, and then you're going to have a 16-year-old that could become one of the best central attacking midfielders by the time he's 21. Of course, no cheap wonder kid list will be complete without Fare Halset Naipan. He is an absolute beast in FM, and I'm not going to talk too much about it because we all know this. Of course, he's got dynamic potential, which means your Naipan might be better than mine, but in all saves, he is going to be an absolute gem. Available at around £4.5 million, maybe a little more give or take. He is everything that you need to sign at the very start of the game. Just 16 years old and with all the fundamental attributes to play anywhere in the midfield, Naipan is going to be a beast whether you like it or not. Now, there aren't too many striker options on this list, but Dor Turgaman is definitely one that's worth your time. For just £4 million, you could have a 19-year-old striker that has the potential to become really, really good, whether as a squad option for a top tier side or someone leading the line for a team just below that. He could be a steal. He currently has acceleration of 14 and pace of 14 to go with his finishing of 13. Some decent mental attributes that definitely could use some work with decisions of 11, anticipation of 10, and composure of 13. But all in all, he could become fantastic, and at the price, he definitely is worth a try. Now, the last two players on this list are valued at more than 10 million in this save, and that's because they both have dynamic potential. But in a save where that potential is a little bit lower but still very good, you could get them for under 10 million, like Shaquille Van Persie right here. Of course, the son of the great Robin Van Persie, Shaquille already has the attributes and building blocks to become a truly world-class center forward. At 190 centimeters tall, he's got a jumping reach of 14 and heading of 13. He's got acceleration of 13 to go with his pace of 12 and finishing of 11. His decision sits at 14 currently with a flair of 13, off the ball of 12 and a work rate of 10. Now, nothing stands out as amazing, but he's just 16 years old, and this will improve for sure over the course of your save, which will make him maybe one of the best strikers in Europe. I'll close things off with the other player that in the save is valued at more than 10 million, but he too can be got for under 10 million when his potential is a little bit lower. 17-year-old Loran is an exceptional Brazilian wide player that comes in with acceleration of 15, pace of 15, and a flair of 15 as well. He's got dribbling of 14 to go with his first touch of 14, passing of 14, and vision of 13. Now, if he develops the way he should, he will be magic on the right wing or even used as a central attacking midfielder. Now, whilst he, like Shaquille Van Persie, is valued at more than 10 million in this save, he's definitely worth checking out at the start of your next save. If you can get him for under 10 million, you will be signing one of the best wide players for years. So that's it, 25 players that can be bought for 10 million or less on FM24, all with a ton of potential. Now, if you've enjoyed this list, please drop me a like and hit the subscribe button. Also hit up the comments to let me know which of these players you've signed before or which of them you've never seen. Now, talking about seeing and not seeing, if you don't want to see the current abilities, potential abilities, and hidden attributes, you can skip a minute or so forward now. If you would like to see those values, then stay tuned. It will be on screen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.